Welcome back, NoDQ Galaxy, to another edition of the NoDQ Review, number 77, and I am Virtue, being joined once again by the elite panel of NoDQ, featuring Aaron Rift, TJS, Big G, Rob, and myself. Wait, we're at 5 again? Woo! How's everybody doing? Big G, I'll start with you, man. We waited extra to record this just for you to get home from work.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much. I'm doing pretty good. A lot of wrestling to discuss on this eve. Other than that, I'm doing good. Robbie Vice, my man, how are you?
Good. It's good to be back on the show. It's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks with holidays and everything else going on. A lot of wrestling, a lot of AEW, NXT news. I'm sure we'll jump into all that stuff pretty good. But life's good, man. Can't complain. What about you, TJS?
Well, I'm drinking a lime cucumber Gatorade, and it's very disgusting, but I would rather do this than sit through 3 hours of Raw. I am ready to talk about it, guys. There's a ton to talk about, and it's just been a crazy, crazy long time. I feel like it's been years since we were in the booth, so let's get it going. Let's have a great discussion, gentlemen.
Aaron Rift, what's up? Hey, Aaron, did the ratings come out? I missed it for last night. What were they this week?
The ratings were close. I think AEW got 850,000, and then NXT did like 845,000. It was like within 5,000 or 6,000 viewers. It was extremely tight this week. And when the DVR numbers come out, there could be a further gap, or it could be like identical. So yeah, it was a very slight win for AEW. They were up quite a bit from last week. NXT was also a little bit up, but AEW had the big jump. Clearly, they got affected more by the Thanksgiving break. I guess more young people watch AEW, and thus they were out doing things on Wednesday night. So, yeah.
Well, the demo always wins, according to the AEW fans. So, Aaron, I'll start with you. Let's talk about the latest thoughts on Dynamite versus NXT on USA. For a couple of weeks there was a rating shift where NXT won. Now, we can say it was, contributed to Survivor Series and the hype of the main roster. And, we saw Becky Lynch on NXT. Last week was the fallout from Survivor Series, was basically the NXT roster itself, and they still won. You said this week, AEW's back up on top, but it's close. Look, I still think this is the same wrestling fans fighting over with each other on what to watch. It's still very niche with Wednesday nights. I mean, add them up. That's what, 1.6 million. Some of that, is overlap. So to me, it's these same fans that are really just, what do they feel like that night? And I think we're going to have this back and forth for a while until a company does something special. Now, look, WWE did the Survivor Series things with NXT, and it seemed to work. What's AEW going to do? So, Rob, you weren't on last time. I don't think you were.
I don't think so.
And this is your favorite topic, and so we're going to kick off with you. Here's my opinion. Like, Jericho's doing great, right? But I mean, he's not Hollywood Hogan. He's not Steve Austin. He's going to need a supporting cast of main eventers to draw 1.5 million. But he's doing what he can. What do they need? CM Punk?
They need another big name on the roster.
All right, take it away.
Yeah, they're going through their growing pains right now. I mean, they're a startup company. The honeymoon period is over. I've already seen people with more cynical views than myself. I try to be unbiased and just call it like I see it. But man, there's a lot more hate out there than there has been the past probably 2 to 3 weeks. They need a big star. They need someone with big star power, big name to show up to feud with Jericho and have a long-standing program. Hollywood Hogan always had Macho Man Randy Savage. I think that was always something they could fall back on in WCW. You always had that pecking order little bit they would do every few months where they would just have this internal fight. So I think Jericho needs something to match that.
They had Sting, too. I mean, they had a lot of...
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And they had a lot of guys that left WWF back in the day. They had Lex Luger come over from the Lex Express and actually have a resurgence in his career. Obviously, the Outsiders. There was a lot of big names that happened when WCW blew up when it did. AEW has been a pretty good show. I mean, it's watchable. I think a lot of it's hot and cold. You have Jericho and Cody, who I think are just the best part of that show. You have Tony Schiavone. You have a great tag team division. But then you have things like Brandy's gimmick. You still have a lot of like the helping each other with the moves. Like you saw Guarva or whatever his name is did that moonsault into nothing, got kicked in the face just for the sake of a spot. I thought that was dumb. You guys know how I feel about Marco's stunt. I mean, I don't need to keep going and beating a dead horse. The show's been good. It's just it hasn't been great, and I was expecting great just based on the hype. So NXT on the other hand, man, NXT is just such a good show, and the NXT women's division, as I tweeted earlier, is just by far, in my opinion, the brightest spot in wrestling right now. So Keith Lee, God, man, that guy has the most charisma I've seen in years. He reminds me so much. He's almost like a more charismatic Vader, the way he carries himself. So I don't know, man. I'm really excited to see where he goes, but it's great to be a wrestling fan right now.
And it's Velveteen Dream still on the shelf, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Big potential star power right there. So Aaron Rift, I know you talk about this all the time, but have you noticed anything differently since Survivor Series? Is this flatlining for both shows on Wednesday night?
I feel like it's going to take the rise of a new star to really start moving the numbers. Like you said, 1.6, 1.7 million. I think that's the core audience. And like you said, they'll continue to fight over those fans until there's a new star that brings in more casual viewers. And yeah, AEW has been enjoyable, but I still feel like they're marketing to a niche audience. And you can say the same for NXT, but I feel like NXT has overall done a better job of building up new stars. And I really feel like Keith Lee is going to be something special in 2020. With AEW, I haven't really seen anybody that I can point out and say that person's going to be the face of wrestling in 2020. I just don't see it, other than the guys that are already on top, like Jericho and Moxley. I'm surprised Kenny Omega hasn't been utilized more. I feel like he's almost been in the background. I guess he wants to get the women's division off the ground, and he's focusing on that and taking a back seat to that. But man, I would get Omega in there more often. I mean, he was really hot in New Japan, and he hasn't done all that much in AEW. He's been almost an afterthought at this point. I'm really impressed with Dustin Rhodes. I feel that he's really shining in AEW, but at the same time, you need to build younger stars. It's cool that Dustin's getting his career resurgence, but we need some new star power, and AEW needs to be able to build their own superstars. Closest thing is, like I've said before, Luchasaurus. I think that guy is awesome. I think he has everything going for him, and he can even talk a little bit. We saw him hold his own with Jericho. I think he could potentially be the guy to dethrone Jericho at some point. But other than that, like, I don't see a lot of guys that I'm seeing as like potential major superstars in AEW. So hopefully they work on that heading into the new year.
Now, Big G, I notice AEW rotates a lot of their stars. Like, I don't always see MJF, Darby Allin, Joey Janela got the main event spot. I think if they're going to try to push some of these indie guys, these smaller guys, they need to just pick one or two of them and like go full force and not rotate them.
Absolutely.
So, and another thing too, we hear about Keith Lee on NXT. Don't forget about Matt Riddle. I'm still holding out hope one day we're going to get the Goldberg. We're going to get the Goldberg match, probably on the main roster. So take it away, Big G.
Yeah, you guys pretty much summed everything up. I'm enjoying both shows. Like you guys know, I watch NXT live and then AEW the next day. I did finish AEW this morning, and it was pretty good, but NXT I like better. Keith Lee, like you guys said, has the charisma. The thing is, it's NXT's on USA now. Don't put him on the main roster, otherwise they're gonna get watered down. You put Keith Lee on there, he'll have a month or two of a push, and then he'll be forgotten about. Same thing with Matt Riddle. Tommaso Ciampa, I don't know how true it is, but he said he would retire if he ever got called to the main roster. That's
I don't believe that. He said that to appease he's a worker. They're workers. He's working, but
yeah, I know. But if it's that bad, I don't think they should be forced to go to the main roster. If you don't want to go to Raw or SmackDown, I don't think you should be forced to. NXT is the third brand under the WWE umbrella. As far as AEW goes, like Aaron said, you need to build stars. Darby Allin, people love Darby Allin. Push him, make him the next, like Virtue said, the next Jeff Hardy.
Well, like the Dark Order. Like, what the hell is the Dark Order? They should have scrapped that with the people involved. That should be the Darby Allin gimmick.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And,
they're just doing it with the wrong people.
Like we mentioned, the women's division, put the title on Awesome Kong. You know, have challengers face her. You know, do what they need to do to get more viewership. You know, get somebody big in there, like you guys mentioned as well, to face Jericho. I mean, the next big. I mean, you got Cody, you got Dustin, you got Moxley. You know, but you need somebody else in there. And like you said, Virtue. You know, they need to stop rotating these stars. They need to push a couple stars, and if that doesn't,
I'll give you an example. MJF, he should be guaranteed 15 minutes every Wednesday night.
Yeah,
guaranteed.
The guy MJF can cut a promo. You know, he damn well good. Other than that, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, December 18th, NXT's got 2 major titles on their show. Jericho's defending against Jungle Boy on the December 18th.
Is that a defense, though? I keep hearing some people saying it's not.
It's a defense.
I don't think it is.
I don't. We got to get clarification on it. Okay. I thought it was, but it might not be. It might just be.
I mean, they're gonna have to. I mean, if NXT is gonna put up 2 of their main titles on the last show of the year for them.
Well, remember, Jungle Boy has not won a match on TV. So if they're making them count, it will not make sense if it's a title match.
Right.
But other than that, you know, we'll see how 2020 comes for AEW and NXT, and go from there.
All right. Well, good points there, considering that you always agree with me, but hey, I like what you said right there, Big G. TJS.
Okay.
Take it away here.
Here's the thing. AEW has done better with the video packages and the character development. I will say that. The Dark Order video packages. I know Aaron hasn't really cared for them, but I thought they were pretty good. I thought that they're actually showing some reasons for these people wearing masks and joining this cult or whatever it is. And it's like you guys. There was
somebody better in the Dark Order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Actual, like, you know, people that we know. Like, who the hell is Evil Uno? Who is Stu Grayson? Like, we don't actually know who these people are. We need, like, a dedicated character in there. Maybe, like Aaron suggested, merge the Nightmare Order or something like what is it? What is it called? Whatever. Merge Awesome Kong with the Dark Order. Have her lead the damn group. She's bigger than like the entire division of the men. So at least that would be believable. You could have her as the women's champion, and I think you should build up maybe Nyla Rose to take the title from her. That would be a good match. The 2 big hosses fighting. I think that would be interesting. And then, so the big match that they're building up is Chris Jericho versus Jungle Boy. Oh, man.
It should be Luchasaurus. Like,
yeah, yeah, it should be. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, there's no way in hell that Jungle Boy is going to win. If it's not a defense, maybe he will, but he's not winning the title. I could see him just going over, you know, with a roll-up or something, just to, you know, give him that first win. And then Jericho's going to eat another loss, which he doesn't deserve, but whatever. I also think that AEW has audio problems that they need to address. It sounded like it was underwater for like half of the show last time. And so we always talk about how WWE doesn't need to worry about ratings or house shows because they're a global brand. AEW is not a global brand. So these low numbers that we're seeing, the low attendance, it's not a good sign. I get it. It's a small startup company, but yeah, they're not bringing in any new viewers, like you guys said. The highest viewed episode was the premiere, and ever since then, it's just kind of not even gotten close to that. So they need to do something different. I think Chris Jericho's a great champion, but you need to build up a good match. And I guess Moxley versus Jericho's that. They have chemistry. We'll see. In NXT, they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. I think that Ciampa saying that about not wanting to go to the main roster was just to promote NXT even more. I mean, you have Gargano, who has a shirt that says NXT for life. So it's like they want to embrace NXT and be like, I don't want to go anywhere. So yeah, that's how it is. I don't think that NXT cares about the numbers. I think they're just going to keep coasting. And AEW, it's been all right too. It's been a very solid Wednesday night as usual.
I think some people expected by now AEW to have a new big star like a CM Punk come in, and really that's not happening. They really have pretty much everybody who they said they were going to have. And I think that could be one of the reasons why it's flatlined. Big G, what did you order from Subway tonight? Meatball sub? Oh, okay.
No, I'm down.
All right. Well, let's move on because, we'll talk about AEW and NXT again. John Morrison is back in WWE. And, we heard this rumor a few months ago, and some people said, oh, not yet. When you hear a rumor these days, most likely it's going to happen, and he's back. Here's the thing. Did the mid-card just get, more fashionable, more stylish? Because that's where he was when he left. I think when you bring a guy like this back, it's clearly WWE. He's getting paid, right? Probably more than he ever thought because of the AEW. They don't want him to go there.
Yeah.
But what are they really going to do with him? Like, could they put him in a program with The Miz? And you know how it's going to happen, right? At some point, that's going to happen. To me, it's time. Bring a guy like this back, make a new main eventer. He was never really truly that main event. Don't just screw around with this guy and put him back in the mid card. Big G, what do you think? I think you got to, if you're bringing him back, make him a main eventer, like push him. You know what I mean? He's a good worker.
He is, not saying much, but he was world champion in Impact Wrestling for quite a while before he left. Put him in the main event. I don't know if it would be against, Brock Lesnar or Bray Wyatt. But even the mid card is fine, Have him go against Shinsuke Nakamura if you put him on SmackDown. Have him go against Rey Mysterio on Raw.
Rollins, Owens.
If you have to, put the Dirt Sheet back together. Have Miz and Morrison as a tag team again, And if you don't have anything for him on Raw and SmackDown, screw it. Just put him in NXT and have some great feuds with Tommaso Ciampa, Gargano, Velveteen Dream when he comes back. There's so much for John Morrison to do, but it all depends on how creative is going to use him. It all depends on how creative is going to use him. Because if the only reason why they signed him was not to go to AEW, I'm going to say it right now, John Morrison is the stupidest person in the world. I am sorry to say that. He could
take that.
Well, it all depends. Man. It all depends on how those 7 figures look. Seriously.
Very true. But if you just want to go to get paid, then don't be a wrestler.
Then he would have went to AEW. I'm sure they talked to him. Why would they not want him? TJS, what do you think on John Morrison?
I think that WWE does not give a shit about this return because we got it announced on WWE Backstage, a show that no one watches unless CM Punk's on it. It's ridiculous. You had some guy, Ryan Satin, announce this. What?
Aaron, can you edit that part out, please?
I don't even... why is this guy on here and the satin sheet? He has some... It's so stupid. Why couldn't this be a surprise? That shows me right there that WWE does not care about this return. You guys remember when Shelton Benjamin was going to come back? We're like, oh, yeah, Shelton Benjamin. Yeah, it's going to be so good. What's he doing now? Absolutely nothing. And, there's not much I can say about this other than I wonder how many times Morrison's going to win the 24/7 title. Jesus.
Aaron Rift, thoughts on John Morrison? Is there potential here for something decent, even in the mid-card?
Well, I could say it's TJS. That's not a very optimistic take on John Morrison. I hope he does more than that. I definitely think he should be in top-level feuds. There's so many guys he could have great programs with. I think Seth Rollins would be one, AJ Styles. That would be on Raw alone. SmackDown, Daniel Bryan, of course, The Miz. He could do stuff with him. So there's plenty for the what was his name? The Shaman of
Sexiness.
Something like that. There's plenty for him to do on both brands, and even NXT also. WWE should be able to get a lot of mileage out of him because he's been gone for so long, and there's a whole new crew of people for him to work with. But yeah, I think we're all on the right track here to have doubts about this because WWE has the reputation for screwing things up. So, yeah, will he be a big star or will he fizzle out in 6 months and be competing for the 24/7 title? I think the jury's out on it. But, yeah, it would be ridiculous if WWE somehow dropped the ball on this. I mean, there's just so much he can do. And if you just spread it out and be smart with it, WWE should be able to maximize his value to the company. So, yeah, don't know what's going to happen.
Robbie, are we going to get this? Are we going to get the dirt sheet or whatever they were called versus the New Day at some point? Like, that's what's going to happen. What do you think
maybe.
about Tom?
I mean, maybe. I think he's still one of the better workers out there. I think you ask what is Shelton Benjamin doing and what are they going to do with John Morrison? Well, I think it's pretty clear that regardless of how much AEW would offer him, you have to also look at long term. Morrison's a fantastic talent, and he's probably going to be an agent at some point in his life, and he's probably looking like towards the future earnings, not just now. He makes good with WWE now. He has a job for life because he's that good. There's so many things you could do with this guy. For one, you can have him have all those matches like you guys alluded to, like against Rollins. I think he'd be great. I think he'd be I think they should put him in NXT because he is basically what AEW kind of is, like that kind of star. And to see that guy on the opposite brand of AEW, it's going to say, why did he choose this over AEW? Why did he choose NXT? And again, I think having a veteran like that, who's such an established good worker, could be a great locker room presence for that young NXT roster. I just think the sky's the limit for this guy. And if they use him to where we don't like his story, I still have to imagine that he's a huge asset backstage for him. So I think this is a good signing by WWE. I don't think it's just to get him away from AEW. I think this is having someone in the back that is going to be just a voice of reason and a good guy to coach these young guys. So.
There you go. There you have it. So John Morris is back. What do you think, NoDQ Galaxy? Put it in the comments below. So Mauro Ranallo missed a little bit of time, for whatever reasons. I mean, we saw the tweets from Corey Graves. I just want to know everyone's take on this. I mean, we know he suffers from, I think he's bipolar, suffers from that type of, a lot of people go through this stuff. And when you're not right, you got to go away. You got to take some time off, gather yourself. I've always said Corey Graves is a dick. Now, whether this was something worked, we don't know. We just look from the surface. He made some tweets. Ranallo wasn't on some shows, and there it is. So, TJS, thoughts on this? I mean, this is kind of just more speculation from our point of view, but, we can kind of put two and two together. What do you think with this whole situation? And by the way, he was back this week.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth, Virtue. My opening line was going to be Corey Graves is a dick. I've really soured on Corey Graves over the years. At first, I was like, oh, yeah, he's good. And then he got really overexposed. He was on both shows. And then, I don't know. He's just, I don't know. I'm not that big of a fan of his work. He says a couple funny lines every now and then, but I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I get that you want to critique someone, but it's like Aaron said, that Mauro is he has issues. So why would you put him on blast in the public like that? I mean,
he's jealous of him. Mauro. Yeah. I mean, Mauro is the voice of NXT. Mauro's great at what he does. There's no reason the other Beth Phoenix and Nigel McGuinness need to speak more. There's no reason. He's a draw. People love him on commentary.
Exactly,
right?
And that's the thing. Like, no one is ever like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear Corey Graves' lines this week." Like, nah, no one cares. Corey Graves isn't the lead guy. Mauro is, and I believe. I think everyone here has been to take. I don't know if Robbie's been to take over or not, but I think you guys have said before. It's not the same if you don't have Mauro calling the matches. Like seeing it live, it's just kind of different. And Mauro, what he says enhances the product. It's just better. And Corey Graves just needs to not be a dick. I get it. He's gonna be like, oh, snowflake, whatever. Like, come on. If you know the guy, like, watch his documentary. And you'll understand everything, Corey.
Well, this goes back to JBL on SmackDown. I mean, there were some problems there. It's because Mauro's good at what he does, and everyone else is they're trying to bring him down, like right?
Yeah.
Because JBL's got to make himself look good. Corey Graves. I think it's politics. I mean, it could be a work, but
it's just I guess they see him as like an easy target. So they're like, oh, don't want Mauro to get paid more than me. But it's like you said, they know he's good. It's like the equivalent of like slashing someone's tires or something to make them late for work. It's really petty and it's ridiculous in my opinion. And I think it's really sad that Corey Graves apologized on his podcast to pop ratings instead of being a man and maybe apologizing in private or in person. But that's just me. I think it's ridiculous. Aaron.
Well, yeah, I agree with you on that about Corey Graves. He shouldn't have gone on his podcast to apologize. He should have just put it out there on Twitter right away. He waited until his podcast came out and then made the announcement. So it kind of looked bad for him. But I feel like he was probably just doing that in the first place to try and draw up some kayfabe heat. But Morrow legitimately got upset and deleted his Twitter and took a break. I'm glad he's back, and hopefully there are no more issues. And like we said before, Corey Graves should have just gone and talked to him, or at least cleared the if they were going to do like some kind of work or something, he should have at least made it clear with Morrow, like, hey, I'm going to say this about you on Twitter. Are you cool with it or not? And apparently he didn't do that. Otherwise, this would have never happened. So, yeah, just an unfortunate situation. Hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Robbie Vice.
I think Corey Graves is a good announcer. I mean, I think he's a solid heel announcer. The biggest problem I see with this guy is he's really young. He has a lot of money, a lot of media exposure, and he's just making unprofessional and immature mistakes. Unfortunately, for him, this is 2019 where we know all this stuff. Whereas, obviously JBL went through bullying people for years before we really kind of found out about it, and I think social media kind of brings all that stuff to light. I think it's really unfortunate. I feel for Morrow. I think Morrow is one of the best to ever call anything. I mean, I think he's up there with, Mean Gene Okerlund, classic Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone. I mean, I just think he's one of the best. Like, he's up there with Cornette and these guys. Just people that are just born to call, and then he's just so passionate, and that's what brings you into NXT, right? Yeah. But I don't think we can discredit Corey Graves, because Corey Graves is a very talented individual. I just think he's being misguided, unprofessional, and just downright immature, and maybe a tad bit cruel. So hopefully, I think for everyone, I hope this was just a learning experience. But man, it's really hard to watch someone just take a crap on a legend like that. But I don't know what the intention was. I don't know what words were said. All I can do is just assume like everyone else, and we all know what that does. And I'm sure people in the YouTube comments will call me the same word, but it's true. So yeah, I just classify this whole thing as unfortunate, and hopefully everyone smooths things out, learns, and moves on.
Well, Morrow also calls boxing and MMA. I mean, that's
right.
That's as elite as you can get as an announcer.
Correct.
Big G, what's your thoughts here?
I mean, you guys pretty much summed everything up, that I was going to say. I just hope...
Are we moving on then? No.
Yeah, I just hope, if something like this happens again with Morrow, hopefully he can, does what he needs to do, and he doesn't quit NXT like he did when he with JBL and quit SmackDown. So I like you guys said, Mauro Ranallo is a great announcer, and he does his job very well.
Does he make Shayna Baszler's matches better? I'm saying not in a bad way, but like that's he makes the NXT matches more exciting.
Yeah, he does.
He works a ground and pound style, which today's fan base doesn't always get over. But when he's calling it and you're watching it on TV, you're in it. You're invested, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, Aaron, I'm going to start with you on this one. There is a $6,500 title out there. I've always known you can buy toy belts at the store. You can buy replicas of the real titles for a few $100s online. I see this Fiend Universal title with this. I don't know if it's a limited edition, if there's only so many, but I see this price point of $6,500. Did they make so many real ones like he's actually carrying around for that price? Like, first of all, what do you think of the title? First of all, like, I think it looks cool. Like, your whole thoughts, not necessarily on selling it to fans, but he's going to carry this around.
So I like the title. I'm a horror fan. I think it's really cool. I think it's pretty badass. And it reminds me of when Steve Austin had the Smoking Skull belt. It was his own custom belt that fit his personality. So I'm fine with it. It's sports entertainment. I like it. It shouldn't be too over the top serious. It's fun. It's all in good fun. I like it. I like the title. As far as selling it for $6,500, that's just trying to milk the diehards for as much as possible, because WWE knows there are wealthy fans out there that will pay a heavy price for that championship. So they're they're taking a risk here by doing this. And, Tom Savini is involved with it, his studios. So, it's like a legitimate piece of history because it's Tom Savini being involved and whatnot. I would not pay that much. Even if I had the money, I don't think I would spend that much on the championship. I would be fine buying something, I don't know, for $100 that looked like it, but I would never spend that much on it. I mean, some people consider it art though. So like you're paying $6,500, it's, custom made. So you could say you're buying a piece of art. So, I don't blame WWE for doing it. It's capitalism. If they can get people to spend money on it, good for WWE. But I personally would not spend a fraction of that. I would spend like $100 at the most to get something that looks like it. But yeah, it is a cool design. I'm fine with Bray Wyatt wearing it on television. No problem with that.
Alrighty. Hey, Big G, is this a sign that Bray, the Fiend, might actually have this Universal title now for a while? You can't do this with a title and then he loses it at Royal Rumble. Like, to me, they got to be invested with him now for the next year. Or, I can maybe see the main event of Mania, depending on who it's against.
Yeah.
I look at it like that. Like, they're invested into keeping Bray in this spot. So what do you think?
I like the title as well, big horror fan. Like Aaron said, I wouldn't spend no $6,500 on a title. Unless, no, I would not. Okay, if I was an art collector, then possibly maybe if I had that kind of money laying around.
I bet you have $6,500 in NoDQ shirts.
As far as, I think the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, I could see him potentially, keeping the Universal title up until, like you said, WrestleMania, even up to SummerSlam, get a good lengthy reign out of him, and then possibly put the title on Roman Reigns. Other than that, like I said, the belt looks cool. It's good for the Fiend. It's his own. I think the Mr. Rogers Bray Wyatt, though, he'll have the blue belt, and then the Fiend, when he comes out, he'll have that belt. So,
and I'm fine with that, but can they get rid of the red light? Like, unless he's like attacking someone in a segment,
the thing
coming
is,
up from under the ring or something. Okay, maybe you can put it on, but not in the matches.
The red light, they could make it part of the storyline. Like, that's how. Just listen, like how the Undertaker had his urn, right, to get like his mystical powers or whatever. The red light is the Fiend's. That's where he gets his power.
They should make the lantern, because that's like the urn. The red light, it can't be very appeasing for people in the ring.
No, it can't. But and then if you want to expose the Fiend, then you have the match in a
pull his pants down, maybe.
Make him watch EC3 matches.
There you go.
All right, TJS. You like that title belt? What do you think about this?
I think it looks ridiculous. Okay, why is the main plate the Fiend's face? This doesn't make any sense. So I don't know if you guys saw him make the entrance with the title, but it just looks like he has his face around his neck, which doesn't make any sense. And
it's cool.
But it isn't, and the straps look like veiny penises. I don't understand. It's really like it's just, I don't know, man. I guess I like all of it except for the main plate. That's what's really bothering me about it.
Why? Because it doesn't have WWE really big. Are you used to that? If they conditioned you to liking that on a title belt.
No, it's just like, I don't know. It's
what's everybody's thoughts too? Keep going, TJS, on the Intercontinental title. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. So with the Universal title, so you have the lantern, which is different from what the Fiend's mask is. I feel like the mask needs to be set apart from everything else. It looks like he's holding his son or something whenever he has the title. I don't know. I just don't like it, and I like everything but the plate, like I said. And for it being $6,500, the Fiend is WWE's cash cow right now. That's what I'll say. He's selling merchandise like crazy. It's a matter of time before they start selling red light bulbs, and they're going to charge $20 a piece for those. Christmas ornaments, sweaters, T-shirts, masks, puppets, gloves, everything that they can sell, they are selling it, and WWE is making the dough. I think they're finally realizing that Bray Wyatt can be the guy, and he should have been the guy years ago. Great stuff. And as far as the Intercontinental title goes, I like it. I think it needs some color, though, because it looks kind of unfinished. Make the globes blue and just put some color in there, I think, and then it would be very good. I am going to miss the white strap, though. Robbie?
Yeah, I think the Fiend's belt is pretty sweet. I mean, it's a cool little piece of horror. I think it's made by a famous, horror guy. I am obviously not the target demographic for that belt because I'm not going to spend that much money on something. If I have that extra cash, it's going to go towards going on vacation or doing something fun. But as for the red light, every time that I see a Fiend red light match, it reminds me of that Seinfeld episode with the Kenny Rogers chicken roaster sign and made Kramer's apartment bright red. That's all I can think of whenever I see these matches. But yeah, man, I think the Fiend is great. I think the title is cool. Like, and here's the thing: it's just because I'm not the target demographic for that. People are buying it. People are buying it. And when people buy merch that tells WWE that whatever they're doing is working, the Fiend is obviously working. This is a good thing for everybody. But I will say this as my little nugget of just hyperbole and fan speculation. I think they're really giving us the first real avenue to a Roman Reigns heel turn because Bray Wyatt changes everyone that he faces. And they may have just cracked the door a little bit to play with the idea, or at least enough to tease us and make us talk about it for a few weeks. So that's my opinion.
We'll see what happens. Big G, Aaron, any thoughts on the Intercontinental title since I brought that up after you talked?
I'm fine with it. It's the white strap been around for a couple of years when Cody brought it back, and it's 2019, something new, something fresh. Hopefully, it doesn't get any uglier than that, though.
Well, you're fine with it, but it's ugly.
I think it's pretty sweet looking.
Aaron, any thoughts?
I think it's a nice title, but my fear is that it's not going to change anything. It's still going to be Shin being that guy that struggles just to get TV time, and when he is on TV, he ends up losing. If he gets a big push, then that's more important to me. But yeah, I do like the title. I think it was due for a change. I mean, I love that classic Intercontinental title design, but at the same time, you gotta change things up and do something different. So yeah, I'm fine with it. It's a cool design.
Maybe it'll look cool. Maybe it will look cool on John Morrison. We'll see.
It looks so much better with the color. Don't you guys agree? Can you see it?
Looks like a white blur to me.
Yeah.
Your technology. I'm only seeing your sink, and your tub, and your toilet now through the reflection of your phone. Hey, you know what? I'm going to occupy you with this now. Moving on from this. Here's the next topic. Tale of two halves of 2019. The first half, we had a fantastic, and we've talked about Daniel Bryan before, but some things have happened with him since. Fantastic run as a heel, as the WWE champion. That title belt, obviously we know, we've even heard he wanted to have that match with Kofi and, put him over, whatever, how that all happened. He should still, to me, be WWE champion. But now the Roman Reigns thing happened, which died on the vine, right? Never had a match. They did the whole Rowan thing instead. Now all of a sudden we have to believe when Brian convinced us that he was truly evil, right? Now we have to believe that he's the yes movement again. All in a 12-month period or less. And that's just awful in my opinion. And for whatever reasons why they're doing it, you can't face Bray Wyatt and be a top babyface. People like Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. So TJS, I think it's not working because of the way they're doing this. Like, I'm not saying he shouldn't be a babyface again, but like against The Fiend?
All right. Excuse me, but what the hell is going on? Okay. So I just want to talk about this Roman Reigns story that we had over the summer. This was led to be it was the main story. It was taking priority over everything else. And what did it accomplish? Who got over? I don't know. Tell me, you have Rowan on Raw now carrying around a cage. What does that have in it?
By the way, I'm calling it. It's going to be a rat. It's going to be a rat because it's a rib on him for having buck teeth. I swear to God, I'm calling it now. But anyway,
You're gonna make Kevin Dunn cry. I think, yeah. So you have him carrying around like a cage, and it's like, what's gonna be in this? Like an audio recording of Vince McMahon saying like, "Oh, you thought this was gonna be creative," and that's gonna be like a fart sound or something. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if that's what's in the cage. Like, I don't get it. And then you have Daniel Bryan, who was an established heel, back to the Yes Movement. Roman Reigns, what's he doing? He's feuding with King Corbin. Wow. How many times has he beaten that guy? It's ridiculous. This was supposed to be the hot angle, and what the hell did it accomplish? Absolutely nothing. Daniel Bryan doing the yeses again, like you said. He convinced us that he was truly evil, that he hates the population for polluting, everything like that. He was the environmentalist. Now he's just saying, "Oh, yes, I'm going back to..." It's ridiculous. And the mystery attacker. Do you remember when they had Eric, like the clone of Eric Rowan there? How stupid was that, man?
He was
like,
a forklift driver.
It
right?
was so... I don't know. It was just so stupid, the way that they built this, because we were all thinking, yeah, they're building it really dumb, but the payoffs are going to be great. No, the hell it wasn't. Daniel Bryan and Rowan were saying, "Oh, we're going to be a great tag team. We're going to main event WrestleMania as tag champs." And then you have Rowan just attack Bryan for no reason. That disbands that. Daniel Bryan is now... he's in the position where he's just putting people over, and it's ridiculous. This man retired, came back. We thought he was going to have a hot streak. He did, and now it seems like he's on his way out or something. I don't know what's going on. It really angers me. I agree. Daniel Bryan should still be champion. He should still have the eco-friendly championship. And yeah, it's just so... It angers me so much that we got absolutely nothing out of that story. Big G.
Oh, you're going to me now, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Big G, like, do you think maybe, are they going to try to give Bryan a split personality now? You know what I mean? Like, because of what he did earlier in the year, he has history with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family.
Yeah.
Maybe they can give Daniel Bryan, like, something weird happening with him the next couple of months. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, it's just weird that they're doing this.
Well, like Robbie mentioned earlier, like lately the people who've been facing the Fiend, you know, they're turning heel. Maybe this is turning Daniel Bryan back into a babyface. Obviously, you know, the crowds are going to be split between the two because everybody still loves Daniel Bryan. They still love the Yes Movement. That was Daniel Bryan's biggest draw in WWE when he started the Yes Movement. So they're going to... creative is going to want to go back to that because they know that's going to work for him. Maybe they didn't think that the heel thing was working for Daniel Bryan because people would still cheer for him, even, you know, when he was a heel. He was a great WWE champion, like TJS said, with the eco-friendly thing. The whole storyline with Roman Reigns, I just think creative didn't know what to do with both of them, so they put something together, and in the end, they said, you know what? We're just going to have Rowan be the mystery attacker, and
Well, I think they were pissed about the Meltzer leak. He nailed the Goldberg-Ziggler thing, and at the same time, he called that, and I think they wanted to just derail that to prove him wrong. There's moles back there, and they're trying, you know, that's my thought.
And, you know, we all know Bray Wyatt's supposed to be the heel, but people, like I said, people cheer for him. They're going to cheer for Daniel Bryan. We're going to see what Daniel Bryan looks like next week if he shaved his head like Aaron. You know, if he got rid of the beard as well. We'll see. You know, maybe this will be something better for Daniel Bryan in the end, in the long run.
Yeah, I think you made a great point, Big G. I think that it would be good for Bryan's career if this is the beginning of a new change in his persona, like he has another direction that he goes in, similar to Jericho. Jericho's always changing up his look, changing the way he cuts promos, and maybe this will be the beginning of something new for Daniel Bryan with the shaved head.
Daniel Bryan in Ring of Honor, like the American Dragon or something?
Yeah, so maybe this won't be the Yes Movement. Maybe this will be the beginning of a new Daniel Bryan, another change in his character. But yeah, I mean, you guys all made great points about how Bryan was this red hot heel, and then it kind of just was taken away from him, which I thought was dumb. But I'm not really surprised. I mean, look what happened with Shawn Michaels. He had that run with Hulk Hogan in 2005, which was awesome. Then he went right back to being a babyface the next night, just completely flipped 180. So I'm not shocked about the Daniel Bryan stuff. But yeah, I think they could have done more with that heel run. TJS?
Let me talk about this really quick also. You have Seth Rollins, who just beats the hell out of The Fiend in Hell in a Cell match. Then they have the big Falls Count Anywhere match. And then Daniel Bryan is like, I'm going to wrestle him. Like, I'm going to put a headlock on him. Wrist lock, shoot the leg, takedown, jackknife. Like, come on. Like, Fiend needs...
you got to try something different. If one thing doesn't work, maybe something else will. Maybe he thought Bray Wyatt's kryptonite was, chain wrestling.
Fair enough, Aaron. Okay, I'll give you that. Good.
He'll have to pull the mask off. Then he's vulnerable. Then he's Bray Wyatt of 3 years ago.
Oh, and they need to stop calling him the Fiend Bray Wyatt. I want them to just call him the Fiend. I want Bray Wyatt to be separate. I want them to refer to the Fiend as it. Make the Fiend gender neutral, as if he's not a human. Make it like a monster. I like that a lot better. That's just me.
Any other thoughts, Aaron, before I pass it on to Robbie Vice?
Oh no, go ahead, Robbie. Any other thoughts you have on the Daniel Bryan situation?
I mean, I guess I'm the only one who liked the Daniel Bryan storyline so far. You ask what did it do for Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan? It gave them something that guys like Shinsuke Nakamura and Dolph Ziggler wish they had, and that was prominent TV time to make you still believe that these guys are important. Just because the feud didn't work out, the way they were placed in the event, the way they were booked, it leads you to believe these guys are important. That's just them saying over and over, yes, we have no idea what to do with this right now, but these two are still really, really important. And I still think there's a good chance that we see a Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I think that's still definitely a possibility because, again, this could also be a way, since they're doing the rematch, for The Fiend to hurt Daniel Bryan. Maybe they turned him face just because they know Daniel Bryan's going to take a little bit of time off. If he comes back, he's going to get a huge pop anyway. Make him a face now. Make it sympathize with him. Okay, so all of a sudden, people are not going to really like that he's just beating the crap out of Daniel Bryan, hurting him and doing all this stuff. And then if he injures him, he's probably not going to get booed, but maybe he'll get some kind of heat, maybe even some kayfabe that people will want to do. So I think this program was successful because both guys are still relevant. Eric Rowan, while he may be doing something dumb, again, he's still on TV when a lot of guys aren't. So I think that's a big deal. But overall, man, I don't know. Daniel Bryan showed me this year that he has one of the best ranges. I mean, since his Ring of Honor days and everything, has anyone really grown as much as a character as Daniel Bryan has? And his just ability to act, his ability to just give these promos and just change who he is. The guy is just he's I know I use this word a lot. He's a legend, and I don't know what else you could say about it, but I think everything here has been pretty good.
What if this ended with, obviously Bray Wyatt still being the champion, but like Daniel Bryan would be a guest on the Firefly Funhouse as himself, and this whole thing is for him when he goes out to matches, he'll come out as maybe the American Dragon, and he'll have a gimmick on his face, customly made. I mean, why not? It's working for Bray. Why not sell merchandise to Daniel Bryan fans? Maybe they're onto something. Maybe
the Undertaker had the ministry.
Yeah, so that would be kind of cool, but we'll have to see what happens with all this. Main event time. Talking about like dangling the carrot, like Aaron, remember back in the day, if the fans turned on like The Rock or Austin started getting cheered, the writing team was smart enough to tell Vince McMahon, we got to go with what the fans want.
Yeah.
The past several months, they want to boo Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is supposed to be this heel, but they're dangling the carrot, like TJS, the Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns storyline. They just want to stretch this thing out. We got the AOP involved. Who knows what's going on? But here's what I wrote down for the main event. Turn Rollins heel already and go full steam, maybe with the program with Owens right now. People like Owens. He's doing the Austin thing, the stunner thing. Is there even a slight chance then that this could lead, small chance, single-digit percentage chance, that they could have worked out a deal with Punk for our main event at WrestleMania? Now, again, we can't ever believe it until we actually see it. But I say they got to just go full steam with it. Don't dangle the carrot with Rollins. Turn him heel. Robbie Vice, I'll start with you. I hate this stretching out of shit. Just do it.
Yeah, I think Seth Rollins should be a heel. I've said it countless times. I don't think he's a likable guy. And that doesn't, maybe not him as a person, but I think his character is just very unlikable, very pretentious, egotistical, arrogant. He's like a guy that, yeah, I mean, he's like a guy that talks to you with his eyes closed, with his nose up in the air at a party, telling you that he knows where all the wine is from just by tasting it. Like, he's literally just like the worst kind of person, but good for him. It's gotten him far in his life. So I think him as a heel is just a natural progression for the character. And we need strong heels like Seth Rollins. So yeah, they need to stop dangling the carrot. They need to just make him a full heel. Now, is there a percentage chance that CM Punk comes back for WrestleMania? Yeah, it's not big, but I don't know what happens. Vince McMahon gets really insane around WrestleMania season, and he just made a boatload of money off the Saudis. And I have to imagine that if Vince McMahon wanted CM Punk, he would have CM Punk. He just has to write the check.
Say you're Vince and somehow you're able to talk to Phil Brooks.
Yeah.
And you say, here's a blank check and you're guaranteed to go on last at WrestleMania. You tell me that CM Punk isn't going to sit there and talk to his wife and not consider that.
Oh, I
like,
think
you know what?
It.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
I think if Vince said, look, I'm going to give you a run. You're going to be the main event. I'm going to pay you. You're going to have your part-time schedule. And because guess what? Everyone says it's not going to happen, but it happened with Bret Hart. It happened with Hogan. The only person it's never happened with was Savage. And I don't think CM Punk or Phil Brooks did to Stephanie McMahon what Macho Man did to make Vince McMahon hate him. So
Warrior came back to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so people, they always come back. It's a horror movie cliche, but they always come back. And CM Punk is not immune to that. So I think while the chance is low, man, I do not put anything past Vince McMahon and his genius and his pocketbook to make something happen if he feels it needs to happen at WrestleMania.
Well said. Aaron Rift, I know you would love Punk to come back, but more importantly, Rollins is a heel, just so we can see it and not sit there and go through this TV every week.
I like the slow burn of it because it reminds me of Bret Hart. Bret Hart did not turn overnight. It took several weeks of Bret feeling that he was being screwed and in his own mind feeling like everybody was out to get him. And that's kind of the same thing we're seeing with Seth Rollins, which is why I like it, because Rollins in his own mind believes he's in the right and everybody's out to get him. I think it's a good storyline so far. My concern is not that they're dragging it out too long, but that they might end up never turning him. Like he's going to somehow be this.
Which is why
Roman
I say
Reigns.
Do it now, because then it might never happen. I get what you're saying about the Bret Hart thing.
I'm thinking they're going to do it before the end of the year. Like I would be shocked if he's not a heel by TLC. Like if he's still a babyface when 2019 closes out, then I feel like they're not going to do it, quite frankly. And that would just be idiotic, but they may feel like they got something with him and he's getting the John Cena / Roman Reigns polarizing reactions, and Vince might get cold feet on turning him. But yeah, I say go full heel with him, and hopefully soon. Don't drag it out too long. By TLC, we should have it revealed that AOP and Rollins are together, and let them form their new Shield or whatever faction they're gonna do.
Yep, I like that. Big G. I mean, right there, the writing's on the wall that it's going to happen, and if it doesn't, that's so Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. What do you think?
Yeah, I just think turn Rollins heel. This time last year, he was the top babyface. And whatnot. Have him go with have him and AOP join already. Beat down Kevin Owens, make the Shield 2.0. As far as CM Punk coming back, there's like maybe a 1% chance right now. Like Robbie said, if the money's right enough for him, he'll come back. People always come back. Vince and whoever always bury the hatchet, water under the bridge. Give CM Punk what he wants, the main event, part-time schedule. There we go.
All right, DJS.
I think that there's a pretty good chance of Punk coming back to the ring, honestly. Even if it's just a one-off, I think that it's going to happen. It's like you guys said, Vince has the deep pockets, and he obviously doesn't have any hard feelings for Punk, or he wouldn't be okay with him being on backstage. He wouldn't be okay with them going and promoting CM Punk on the shows. He wouldn't be okay with it being on the front page of WWE.com. It's like, and it seems like they're leading to the Rollins Punk thing. I think that would be good. It would be a great main event. But yeah, I think the Seth Rollins thing is interesting. I don't know why AOP is involved. It's kind of confusing. I just don't know why everyone hates Seth Rollins, though. Like, I don't get all the hate that he's got. Like, this guy bust his ass for the company, and all he did was defend the company that he works for.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay, so he was on backstage, and I thought his comments were interesting, which makes me feel like maybe they're not going to turn him, because he gave the traditional line of the same thing that Roman Reigns and John Cena would say, where it's a small portion of the audience that doesn't like him, and it's a vocal minority, and most of the kids and the families, they all love him, and at the live events, everyone loves him. It's just those small group of internet fans that don't like him, and not internet fans, but group of, adult males that don't like him. So I that's why I'm concerned, because he said that on backstage, but then again, that might just be him doing, the so-called shoot interview about the situation. But I think fans, his speculation was that it was the tweets with Will Ospreay that turned people off him, and like the whole Becky thing, and some of his tweets they feel are really cringy and that sort of thing. So that's why I think a lot of people turned against him, his demeanor on Twitter.
I forgot about the Becky thing. Oh my God. Turn him heel, like you guys said. Make him. He could work either way. I think he's a good face or a heel. But if he goes heel, he needs to drop the burn it down thing, because that gives the fans a reason to cheer. They're gonna always do the burn it down before the music hits. So take that out. I think his character's just been really botched in general. Like, he goes by a Beast Slayer, King Slayer, Monster Slayer, and Brock Lesnar's still the champion. Triple H still wrestles on occasions, and Braun Strowman is also still wrestling, so the nicknames make no sense. But whatever. I like the slow burn, like Aaron said. I'm okay with long-term storytelling. My problem is that this wasn't like the focus of Raw. I don't even remember what the main event segment was on Raw, but it should have been something with Seth, Kevin, and the AOP. I think this should take center stage. If the champion isn't going to be there, do something with Owens and Rollins, two of the best workers in the company and in the world. Period.
I say turn him heel now. AOP is his big bodyguard lackeys. You can be like, you can make Shield references and just insult the fans and insult the talent backstage and make people want to see Kevin Owens stun him, but not deliver it. Make Seth hide behind AOP, build it up, make Owens have to earn it and not earn it, but like get there on a big pay-per-view like they used to do with Austin Rock and all that stuff. But I don't know.
And see, that's also the thing. Kevin Owens he should be the top babyface right now, because did we forget he just made Shane McMahon leave the company? Shane McMahon was like the most hated heel on TV, and now Kevin Owens, I feel like, is floundering, or he was up until now. What the hell, WWE? Seriously.
Just go with it. That's my opinion. What do you think, NoDQ Galaxy? Put your thoughts in the comments below. With that said, that's another good review. We haven't done one in a couple of weeks, so it's good to be back, number 77. Let's go around the horn. Big G, I'll start with you. Tell everybody goodbye.
Yes, goodbye and good night. BigQ.com/Big G takes you to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Heltz on Facebook. Go check out NoDQ.com/merch. A lot of merch out there. I believe you can still go to Pro Wrestling Tees and go to NoDQ, type in NoDQ, and get some of those shirts that the guys are wearing right now. And that's it for the Big G TJS.
NoDQ.com/TJS takes you to my Facebook page. Feel free to add me. Twitter @NoDQ_TJS. And Big G plugged all the NoDQ merch. Ladies and gentlemen, go vote in the NoDQ Decade Awards. It's a big deal. We've got, I believe it's all of the superstars or the theme songs, catchphrases, everything from the past decade. The year-end award winners, they're all in one poll, and we're seeing who is the best of the decade. So go vote on it, folks. Go to NoDQ.com, and you'll see the details there. Robbie?
Well, guys, as always, it is good to be back here. You guys can follow me on Twitter @NoDQVice. I know Mr. Power Packers and I are going to be having a debate at some point. We need to get that set with Mr. Rift. I've been talking to him on Twitter. He wants to do an online NoDQ great debate with Robbie Vice, the smartest guy in the room. So we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, stay tuned to NoDQ. Blah, 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 blah. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for more details on that. And Mr. Rift, where are you at right now with your goodbyes?
Or whatever it's called, NoDQ.com.
Whatever, yeah.
You sounded like the Sandman there for a minute. Trying to come up with the site. Anyways, TJS, thank you for that plug for the Decade Awards. Make sure you guys go ahead and vote in that. And give us some suggestions. What do you want to see in 2020? We're definitely open to some ideas and changing things up a little bit. Any concepts you want us to discuss, any ideas for different types of videos, different kind of panels or debates, whatnot. Give us your feedback and let us know what you thought about this video. Who stole the show in this video and who was the one holding it down? Let us know in the comments. Virtue, go ahead and wrap it up.
Aaron, what's the email people can email you about getting on the shows? Because I actually have a couple people that I think the Great No DQ debate can have several episodes, and it doesn't always have to be me. Like Rob said, him and Power Packers. I have a couple people in line for me. So where can they email you to get the ball rolling with this stuff?
NoDQMISC@gmail.com.
Exactly. So try that. Let's make everything official. Let's get some new content out there for NoDQ.com. I am Virtue. You can follow me, troll with me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. Go over to my Facebook, NoDQ.com/Virtue. For Big G, for TJS, for Robbie Vice, and for Aaron Rift, I'm Virtue. We will see you next time.